Hello, very good evening. In today's Java problem solving approach, we are again going to explore more functions that we can use to find certain information within a string and how we can format, edit, modify a given string into some other form. So, for example, we use a date example, which is a very good one. The user enters a date in some system and then we modify that date to our own format and according to our own settings. So, what we're going to do is we're going to ask the user to enter the date in form of month, year, in form of month, days and year, and then we're going to format that in a different way. Okay, and then we're going to use we're going to see how we can use different functions. This is Dr. Zeeshan from Zeeshan Academy. If you have been watching this video or if you have for the first time, kindly don't forget to hit the subscribe button so you get more cool lectures on Java and on this problem solving approach, a different way of understanding how we can solve various different problems using Java. Okay, so let's get started. So we come back into NetBeans, and again, like a previous number, we have developed various different applications previously as well. For our sake, again, what I will do is I will create another very quick application where user enters the date and then we can format it accordingly. Okay, so we go into file, we create a new project and we create Java applications, click on new, and then here we enter the J application. So for example, I can say date app and then I click on finish. What this will do, it will go into the system, create the necessary files, assign me the necessary include library files and give me the project window. Okay, with the default file called date app.java that will contain public static void main. We have been talking about this previously, but if you're here for the first time, this is how we create a software in NetBeans using Java code. So we created and we gave it a name and basically we get a source package. This is the default file that will be used to execute the code for the very first time. So whenever we click on the button or when we run the code, this is the file that's get executed. For now, currently this is of no use to us because we want to create a GUI frame. So I will go into this data app package, right click on this package and go into new, and I will create a Java JFrame form. So once I click on that, this is going to ask me what I'm going to do. So I'm going to say date form, or we can say date GUI. Okay, this is the GUI, or this is we are basically creating a new class which will contain the GUI, and I give it finish option. So what this will do, it will go into the system and create the necessary code for us and give us a GUI which we can create the apps for. Okay, and we have been doing the same thing previously as well. So let's do that very quickly. The label, if I can work it, somehow it's got hang. Okay, again, don't worry, I will be talking more about NetBeans and creating more customs and advanced form of GUIs, from menus to shortcuts and everything, from right click menus to top menus, from status bars as we go along. So as our tasks become more prolonged and more complex, we would be trying to develop more complex applications to solve that problem. For now, these are very simple applications, so just let go with that. Okay, so again, double click here, this will be date formatting application. Okay, and this is my main title. Again, I can just increase the size of the font by clicking here. Give me 18, give me bold, and that should make it a bigger app for me. All right, and then obviously, as we know, we can always change the color, so we can make it more an apparent color. Then I click on the label, and give me another label, and I can say enter date. Okay, that this is where I will enter my date. I create here label, another label, and this will be formatted date. Okay, and I can simply say, okay, give me a text area. No, sorry, not text area, text field. So for example, if you select a component but you don't want it, just press escape and it's gone. All right, so that's a quick way of removing and selection. Escape if you have not clicked it yet. Okay, so for example, if I have not clicked it yet, it's still connected with my cursor. If I press escape, it's gone. But if you click it, well, it's there. Now escape won't do anything. So you have to press delete key to delete that component from the system. So we just move it here, text field. This becomes cool thing. Then I create another text field where I can give my output. I guess I don't know why text area is coming continuously popping up. So let me give you text area for that sake. Let's go for it. Okay, so and this is the text area, and then I go back in the design. I change the variable name. Remember, I used to write txt for text field, and I will say text date, and this is my text area. I can go into change variable name. For example, again, I will just txt text. What should we name it? Format f date. All right, let me do that. F date. Okay, formatted date. This becomes my area. All right. And then obviously we need a button, so we bring a button here, double click, so not double click on it yet, sorry, right click, edit text, format date. Okay, so we rename the button format date. Once we click on that, this date gets converted. So right click here, edit text, remove this text. So our GUI is prepared very quickly, very easily. Just drag and drop components here. Again, always remember to right click, rename these opponents by changing variable name, so that you know in your code what basically you're trying to do. Similarly, button, right click, change variable name. It says button 1. If there are many buttons, it becomes extremely confusing to understand what you're doing. And then we give it an abbreviation there, because your app can contain many components. By the time you're doing an app, and it can have lots of very confusing name, and you don't know which is text field, which is button, which is label, which is menus, and blah 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 blah. So we give it an abbreviation suffix that will allow us to understand. So btn means button, txt means text field, lbl means label, and so on and so forth, right? So it allows us to customize and organize and work with our code more efficiently. Similarly, it would also mean that if other people are working on the same code in the team, they would also know what basically you're trying to do. So button, for example, I can say button date or button f date. Okay, so now I know this is what I'm going to do. Now I have to write the code behind this button. So when user clicks on this button, that whatever date is entered here is formatted in this form. So we right click, go into events, and we go into mouse click. This is the default event that we basically work on. Obviously we can work on various different events, but like I said, we will be doing this as we go along. For now, let's just go into mouse click. What this now means that whenever user presses a button, certain action would occur. That action is basically event, which means that when user clicks, an event is triggered. Based on that event, some action would be performed. What is that action? We will get this code here. All right. So we get button f date mouse click. That's the function name. awd.mouse event. This is the event. This is the event that will occur, which will trigger this method. Right. So whenever this event is triggered, which is mouse click, or whenever this mouse click event is occurred, some action is supposed to be performed, which is basically some code we write here. So what we write here is, we say, okay, string date is equal to txt date dot get txt. Right. Now what we did here is, we created a variable string, give it a name date dot txt date. Now remember, txt date is basically my text field. So I wrote txt date dot. As soon as you give a dot, basically Java will pop up a list of options and methods that you can associate and use with this particular text field. In our case, we have been using dot get text, T capital. Get text means that whatever text has been entered in the system, retrieve that text. Give me that text. Okay. And then once that text is given, we save that text in our date variable. As simple as that. So now we can process this string. Once this string is available, now the first task was to basically go into this 98 and then change it. Now assumingly user enters the date in this particular format, we just need to insert 1998 inside it. Okay, again, old task, I don't know why we gave this thing, but this is what we got to do. So let's go into it. So what I use is, I basically use an integer I is equal to, and I use this date dot method called index of. Right. Now index of, we have been used it previously as well. Index of is a method that basically searches for a particular character, which in our case would be this backslash. Okay. Search for this backslash within my string and let me know where this backslash is. Okay. Give me the index, semicolon. But however, we know that I need to find the second backslash. If you write here, it will just go into it, find the first backslash index and return that number to you. Okay, because we have just told it to find me the backslash. Index of is a method for a string class that goes inside a string and tries to find that particular character which is given here. So it's like a searching mechanism, and then returns the index number of that character. So wherever it finds this character, that index number would be returned to us. That is why we have used integer here, because that number would be in integer format. So we would know exactly where that character is in an index array. However, we need to find not the first index, we need to find the second index. Now there are two ways of doing it. One, we give it a starting number. For example, comma 4. This means that 0 index, 1 index, 2 index, 3 index, 4th index. After the 4th index, start looking for that backslash. Okay, this number is basically the starting point. If I specify this comma 4, now it means that start looking for this character but from the 4th index, not before that. So all the characters before that will basically be ignored. So 0 index, 1 index, 2 index, 3 index, and these 3 indexes will all be reduced. All will be excluded. They would not be counted in the search mechanism. So this index of will automatically go on to this 4th index. It will start search from that 4th index, and then it can find this thing. So it becomes absolutely easy peasy. The second way, long way, is we actually find the first index of the first, then we go on to the second. But for now, we just hard coding the first index. Okay, we can find the first index and then we tell it that because this is the first index, first backslash, I don't want that, skip this step, go to that. But that just add few more lines. There are further tasks in my system, in my labs, that allow us to do this dynamically. So currently we're just fixing it. For the next task, we will be doing it more dynamically. So for now, it will just give me the 4th index. Once I have that 4th index available, now what I do is, now I will get the index of this thing. So if you want, you can print it, system.out.println, and I can say, for example, inverted quotations, index of this backslash plus I. It should give me this index of backslash I. Okay. Once I have that index, now what I need to do is, I need to use that string and I need to change it and insert more text in this. Right. I hope that makes sense. So if I go back into my code here, I need to find this string. Okay. Once I have this string available, from this index, after this index, I need to insert this 1999 in that point. I need to add these two strings and then repack it as a whole. So what I do is, very simply, where's my code gone? Here it is, right? So what I do is, I go into this thing called a string year, for example, is equal to, and I will use this date dot substring method that will use the index I, that whichever was the index of the static character, up till date.length length semicolon. Okay, so now what this will do is, it will use the substring method to extract only the year. Okay, so we have told it that substring, extract that string. Substring means give me the part of that string from starting point to ending point, right? So starting point is supposed to be this I. I would now contain the index number of this backslash. I would contain the index of backslash. So we have told this thing that please go into this string, find me this backslash. Okay, we say, and it found us, we save the value in I. Okay, so we search the backslash, we save the index number into I, then we use the substring method to tell this thing that start from this variable and get me till the end of string. So it should return to me 1998, only 98. So I will get only 98. Let me test this thing out before we go further, and we can use this thing as we think. So we use system.out.println to test this thing, and semicolon, inverted quotations, the year is, for example, plus, and I would go year. Alright, let's test this thing. Okay, this is error here. Again, system is always capital S. Now, once we, and I've made too many mistakes here, I guess. Print, spelling mistake, PRINT, println, there we go. Now, this is another class that uses GUI frame and everything, but the original class that allows us to execute this code contains data app, right? So what we do here is, we go into this class, we create an object of date GUI is equal to dg is equal to new date GUI and constructor, and then we call it dg.set, set VISI visible true, true, bracket close, semicolon. Okay, so what I told is that this is my main method. This is the method that gets executed every time we try to run this code. So when we run this code, public static void main gets executed. When this gets executed, we have to tell within this body of this main method that what's supposed to happen. If we don't tell it anything, nothing will happen. So we are going to tell it that create an object of this date GUI class, which is this date GUI class we just created, that contains this entire form and everything. So we create an object of this class. So date GUI DG variable name or object name is equal to new, tells the system to create a new object, and we call the constructor that does the remaining job. Then we use this DG variable dot set visible true. What this function would do is that once the object is created, it would go inside the memory, create this entire GUI frame and assign it to the variable. But then that frame is still not visible because we haven't told it to make it visible. So in order to do that, we use this set visible. So GUI is a separate class, public static void main is in a separate class. We create the GUI here and then create the object of that in public static void main. So we are telling public static void main that now this object is available, display that object to me. So if we go into it, hit run, thank you. It would go into the system, try to compile it, see if there's errors, and we hope there's no errors there, because again, if there were, the NetBeans would have told us already. It indicates that if you done any mistake or anything, and then basically we get what we call a GUI frame visible to us. So here it is. I enter the date, for example, it's 10/10/98. Let me use the 98 word. Format the date, and index of backslash is 5. So 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. See this? This is on the 5th index. So we got the index 5 and the year is /98. Now this is something that we need to be we need to address, right? So if I go back into my code and if I go back into source code again, right click, events and mouse click, I need to find that method. This becomes very quickly for me. The index of this is backslash is equal to, this gives me 5, but I didn't insert backslash here. So the year actually gave me /98. That's because the substring I is inclusive. Inclusive means it would include that index up to that point. So I means include the backslash index and from there try to find the date. So I need to find the next character. Now again here, what happens here is that it gave me output /98. If I go back into my word, this means /98. I don't want that. What I want is, I want this system to just give me 98. So this is 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 is the backslash index. The substring method uses two variables, a starting point, ending point. This starting point is inclusive, means start from this point and then find me the number. So I means the index of this backslash, and we have told this thing start from this backslash and fetch me the remaining characters. So it would start from the backslash because I means the current index of the backslash. So start from the backslash, find me this character, return it to me in the system. So we have told it actually to do what exactly it is trying to do. We don't want that to happen. So what we do now is we basically tell it to +1. We tell it to go next that index. So we have told now is that once you find this backslash, go +1, go to the next character, find me the index. Okay, let me close that, hit run again, and let us see that if we get 98 appropriately, right? So once we come here and we get a date /12/98 and click format, and now you get the output here. The index is 5 and now the 98 is only available. So in a year I have 98. Perfect. So now what I do is year is equal to year plus, okay, hang on, the string. That becomes easy job sometimes is we add 19 plus here semicolon. Down. What now it means that add the 19 before year and you are good to go. However, now we need to append this year back with the date thing. So we're not changing the date, we're just needing to add it. So what I do is I again use a string month, for example, is equal to go into date dot substring, and this time we're going to use from 0, I. Why? Because we need to extract this initial date. So we have added, initially what we did was because we needed to add the 1998. So we took the 1998 and separately we extracted 98 and added 19 to it. So now we get the whole string. But now this whole string again has to be joined back with the remaining month and date. So first we now find this initial date, and then the later on this year would be joined together. So we go back into month, date, substring 0. 0 means start from this 0 index up till this backslash that we found. So up till I. So this time we just use this I again, and this would give me the initial date. So we take this initial date, and whatever month is available, we would say final string, for example, final formatted date, right? Format date is equal to, this time it would be month, month plus year, year, semicolon. Simple as that. Okay, spelling mistakes, string string f dot month. Okay, that's the good thing about NetBeans. It tells you right then what mistakes you have done. So we created another variable, not necessary, but let's just format that. This is the final variable that will contain the actual date. Now I have the month available, which I just separated previously. So I have the months thing from 0 to that month point plus the year, okay, and this would actually give me the final date. Now what I need to do is I need to go into txt text fdat formatted date dot, it should pop up the menu, set txt text, and that text would be actually format date. Okay, so whatever the formatted date was, kindly show that date to me on this menu, and let me go into this thing, let me close it, hit run again. Let's just check if it's running or not. Okay, so we get this menu here. I enter date, for example, 10, 9 and 98, and click on format, and something happened, no happen. Okay, let me click format again, and here we go, 10, 29 and 1998. We missed the backslash. There's a backslash missing. All right, so we understood that when we did this plus sign, actually we took the month and we took the year, but we had already removed the backslash in the center. So let's just add that. So plus backslash bracket plus. Right, so now we did month plus add this backslash plus add this year. So what this now basically means that we have added the backslash. If I go back into the code and come back here, so for example 10 backslash 98 and hit format, it's now 1998 as per my problem. Okay, so as per my problem, I have changed the date, I've added 1998 into the systems. How we did that? Again, a quick loop quick recap. We had to add certain text between a string. Okay, this can be a date, this can be a phone number, this can be your name or whatever you want to do. So what we did was we need to find a particular index point for substring to work. We need to find a point where I can actually break the string in two parts. So we used index of method to find the index of this backslash character. So we used the index of to find the backslash character first. Starting number was given 4, so don't count the first one, count the second one. So first we found the index number of that backslash, the point where I need to break the string in two halves. Then I use the substring method. Substring is used to extract a certain part of a string. So once we have that index, we first separate the year, then using the same substring I separated the day, month and date. So we got the string in two parts. So then we added 1998 to the year, and then again combined both strings together. Here we got the date. So the trick here was that you separate your string, break it into two different parts. Okay, we used index of and substring to do that. In different strings, it can be different things. In more tasks further on, we will be using this in more different examples. Okay, I hope you understand that. Kindly leave your comments, feedbacks below if you don't understand it, or what's something that is not working for you, and I will try to do that again for you. All right, this is Dr. Zeeshan. Thank you very much.